As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner YouGov offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more. And this is Valorant Mobile being announced, and in conjunction, the PC version hitting 14 million monthly players. Huge numbers from Valorant, and Valorant Mobile coming out. I mean, everyone knows how big of a fan I am of mobile games. Zach, let me start with you. Just two questions here. One, how much does the mobile space in some ways hurt you, if you see it like that at all? And two, where is Valorant, based on the data you have from the centers, like where is Valorant in this hierarchy of popularity in terms of what people are playing?
Yeah, so interesting fact is that in Southeast Asia, a lot of our centers run PUBG Mobile in an emulator in their PCs where the players can use a keyboard and a mouse. And like, it's like a pretty popular title there. And in our overall network, it's not very high. Yeah. But like, it's strange to know that players will, like, can you imagine an upscaled mobile graphic? I mean, it's
sort of cheating also, playing against guys.
Absolute cheating, and they win pretty easy because they have controls different, right? So that's interesting. So the mobile market to us, like we have seen that when you talk about LAN centers, like what do you go there for? What's the purpose, right? If the player just wants to meet up with their friends and play a certain title, like PUBG Mobile has taken some players out of LAN centers, especially in Southeast Asia in the market for us, because a lot of them have cell phones now. They don't have a PC, they don't have high speed at home, but PUBG Mobile is pretty good. So I expect Valorant Mobile to be very popular. And again, we pulled this up before we talked, we knew we were going to cover this subject, but it's very interesting to me. League of Legends it's been a mainstay, an evergreen title in LAN centers for years and years and years. And, people push it up a little, push it down a little bit, it'll pop back up again. But, for last month for us, number one played was Fortnite, number two, Counter-Strike, number three, Call of Duty, and then fourth was Valorant. It's bumped League of Legends down to number five. It's a pretty big deal for us that, Riot's second title is vaulted above its original gangster. So, I'm excited for it. It's competitive. It's fun to watch, like they're doing a good job of pulling those players in from other titles like CS and Overwatch. Enjoy that game a lot. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. And I anticipate to keep climbing. I hope they feed it like they feed their League of Legends games with enough content and activities like they've done. So, yeah, what you got?
William, I'm curious, like specifically for you, because, we've been over this mobile conversation a million times. A, do you think the mobile version here potentially hurts or cannibalizes the main game? And B, like, what's the Riot secret here in your mind, right? Like the fact that, to Zach's point here, it's already past League of Legends in across all these centers. Like, what is their secret sauce here, right? They seem to have fallen on like the ability to create competitive games in a way that no one else can and drive real success and player.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. I want to say two things. One is I love that they're doing mobile. I just think accessibility is the most important thing. I think people who are scared that mobile cannibalizes or places, I think it gets customers you otherwise couldn't get, and it's an on-ramp for customers you otherwise wouldn't have, right? I think it's wonderful. I think high quality mobile offerings for very good games should exist because many people can't play very good games, on PCs, right? Because they just don't have access, right? So I just think it's smart. And if you think of Valorant as something maybe more than a game, sort of how Riot seems to be thinking about League of Legends with music and things like, well, this is better. Get your brand in front of more customers. Why not? Come on. So I think it's absolutely and the fact that they're following it this fast tells me they had this in development for a long. This isn't Riot didn't just start this when Valorant launched. It was like, oh, we should have a mobile. Like they've been doing this for what? That's smart. They have a strategy. They've recognized it needed to work from the get-go, right? Or at least from much earlier in the development cycle. So I love that. Yeah, I think the bigger concern for Riot here a little bit is where are your users coming from, right? Because what's freaking me out in the stats that Zach shared is I would think Valorant would knock out CS. I would think Valorant would knock out Call of Duty. What was the thing that dropped on the slots? League of Legends, right? And it's anecdotal. We're talking about, center data that Zach has chosen to share with us and other things, but that's a little concerning to me if I'm Riot, because Riot's whole approach has been, oh, we're going to get competitive gamers in every different genre. What if they're just getting competitive gamers and they were just going to the competitive titles? So you're in the worst pace possible you are with Valorant. And I'm not saying this is the case, but it's got to be in the back of it, because obviously there's incremental consumption going on here. But like, you're actually just pulling your users out of one title into another. You had people who love competition, who probably would have preferred a shooter, but we're doing MOBAs. And now, so like that is the thing that really is, making me prick my ears up when Zach's sharing those numbers, is like, this is weird, because I think that the titles this is aimed against, it's not knocking down, it's knocking down the owned home title. And that goes to a bigger concern. So you're talking about how great is Riot that they can do this and achieve. Let's not understate their achievement. This is incredible. For anyone to launch a shooter like this and have it get to this level of popularity this fast, that is like, I mean, only a true AAA publisher could do it, right? Particularly with a new IP. This is absolutely an unbelievable achievement. But it may not be all roses and wine here, because I wonder if it has, that's the point, essentially.
I wanted to bring up sort of an anecdotal point that Zach has sort of disproven. But I had this theory, which was, we pick a game, and this is my own personal experience, right? When I have time to play something and I get in my Discord server, the way we decide what game we're going to play is not based on which game we want to play. It's based on, okay, there's 5 people online, let's play Valorant. Or there's 3 people online, let's play Apex. Or there's 10 people online, okay, we'll play customs 5v5 Valorant, right? Like, and so a lot of it's driven by just like the numbers you have, because these are social activities now. But the fact that, a 5v5 game replaced or at least surpassed a 5v5 game, I'm like, maybe my theory here is disproven, because to William's point, Valorant should have replaced CSGO.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's a tricky one, but I love the theory. And I do think it's important to think that maybe, and this is a little bit of simplification, but maybe we're so quick to categorize games by genre, right? But like, you don't really categorize film and movies the same way, right? Like, you're not a romantic, like, you might prefer rom-coms, but no one says like, oh, I'm an only rom-com watcher, right? Like, if there's, I'm never, like, are you kidding me? I would never watch a Best Picture film.
I've heard William say that. He's only
That's right. Yeah, documentaries. You consume the media much more broadly, and you might have preferences. Like, of course, you prefer rom-coms, like Harry Met Sally all day. Come on, stream it up, But like, the point I'm making here is like, yeah, maybe what's going on here is a deeper customer segmentation of users than the cursory approach we're taking here. And it's a little bit concerning to me. Maybe there are just Riot style users and Riot can reach them. And they certainly seem to have reached more with Valorant. But then what does that mean for the next title? Because there's only so much more. There's only so much of that type of consumer out there.
But this is, to me, where like being GG Circuit's kind of so cool, right? Because you could probably figure out if there's any truth to my theory here, right? Like, you could figure out when groups of X number of people come in, what game do they play most, right? And is there any correlation between size of the group and game preference?
Yeah, the fun part, Paul, about ours is in our network, besides like a Best Buy kiosk where they're playing, and they're limited to 15 minutes there where it's free, everybody's paying to play.
Yep.
So people are precious with their gaming time if they're paying $3, $5, $8 an hour, depending on where they're at in the world, to be in one of these centers. So our data is so pure because I'm not going to mess around with a game I don't feel like playing if I'm paying $5 an hour to play it with my buddies, right? So yeah, it's very interesting to look at our data and get a lot of that. And again, not to pour salt in an open wound, because I know you guys have talked about this in the past, but it makes me sad because I feel like the real loser in all of this is maybe Overwatch, like, and I hate that because we really changed the way the world views esports with what the Overwatch League did, bringing in like big names. And again, underneath the hood, like a lot of us know a lot of the details, and it doesn't matter what the details are. For someone who's been doing this since 2004, like the world looked at our business differently when I went into meetings and talked about gaming and esports after the Overwatch League added folks like the Craft Group, into talks. So I just hate it, but it also proves a point that, man, are gamers fickle, right? Like you could put together whatever you think will be long-term, but next thing you know, there might be a Fortnite popping out that just makes your Overwatch thing.
Yeah, you are right. The saddest casualty in all of this is like arguably the most, and I would agree with you. I would actually go so far as to say I think the most important game for the evolution of our industry is Overwatch. It is sad to not see that in your top 5, Zach. It's sad,
It's ninth.
Oof.
Heroes of the Storm is 8, right? 8.
Call of Duty Black Ops is 7. There's 2 Call of Duty games in my top 10.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
and
let's
again,
hope.
you guys, we don't know this because we kind of know it in the LAN industry, but all of us as gamers, and like we have a United States or America view of things that we don't see around the world as what titles are popular, right? Like I always use Dota as an example. Like it is massive in other parts of the world, especially South America, and it is not very popular in LAN centers in the United States, right? Like, but it's a massive worldwide title, so I don't know. It is sad, but I'm excited for VALORANT, right? Like I'm excited that a new game is creeping up into the top 5 and sustaining it. And I hope they feed it, right? Like that's the biggest thing is I hope they keep feeding it.